Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Giovanni, and today I'll be on the affirmative side of why homeschooling needs to be reformed. So to address what my opponent said earlier, that we want to limit 50 ideologies to one. It's not that. It's just that we want to ensure that homeschool students get a proper education. Make sure they don't get abused at home. So basically, our proposal would be similar to the ones in the state of Pennsylvania. Basically, that parents must submit an annual notice to a superintendent. Make sure that the parent has a high school diploma or a GED, and then provide academic records of the students and test results, and make sure that the children are tested, and subjects like math, reading, writing. And we want to make this a nationwide reform, because states like Texas, Illinois, Michigan, and in Alaska have no requirements, or in Oklahoma as well. And on the subject of abuse, the reason why we want to reform that is basically that way we could have a quarterly progress reports where we have a social worker checking on a student's progress and exams, grades, and also to make sure their health is okay, make sure there's no abuse going on. Let me give you an example. In Oklahoma, a state that has no regulations, homeschool regulations, there was a case of parents John and Sonja Kruth. So they choked, and they burned their 3 homeschool children, and this happened back in 2011. And as of right now, 11 states have no regulations. And California itself doesn't have that much regulations. It just defines homeschooling as a private school. Basically, here parents just have to register their home as an institute with all protections of privacy, and that's basically what we consider private school. And then another state that basically has no regulations, Texas. The only requirement that you need to fulfill there is you just have to inform the state that you plan on homeschooling your child. So bad thing about that, there's no background check issued, and there's basically no educational requirements. So basically, that means basically anyone can educate a child, even if they're not qualified to do so. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to make sure that the children that are homeschooled, make sure that they get a proper education by parents or homeschool teachers that have the proper education. And then once again, to address what my opponent said about interfering with freedom and privacy, it's not that. It's just that to make sure that the children are not being abused, make sure that they're healthy and doing good, which is why we want to have social workers checking quarterly. Another case, a teenager in Washington named Hannah Williams. She was homeschooled as well, and she was killed by her parents. Her parents believed in a very strict form of discipline. Much of the time she was forced to be barefoot. The only time she was allowed to wear shoes was when it was snowing outside. And that also just basically, it's another example of how parents who abuse children, they use homeschooling as an excuse to pull their children out of public schools to hide the abuse that they cause. And with our proposal that we want social workers to check in on students, We're hoping that it'll report and find out more abuse cases so we can do something to stop it. This law would actually, we wanted to help children who are homeschooled to meet the basic requirements of state education standards. Make sure once again that they're taught by a qualified person, whether it be a parent or a teacher. And just to make sure they're also given a proper learning environment. So the way we want to make sure parents are qualified to do so is basically we would have them tested on high school level math, English, grammar, and writing, so they could be credited as a proper educator. The educator must report a curriculum, their like an outline of what they plan to do, what their plans are. Make sure they have students' records, and provide an annual progress report, a quarterly and an annual progress report, specifying that the current performance, the current academic performance of the child. If the progress shows that there's a declining performance for 2 consecutive years, the educator is placed on academic probation. Records will be submitted to the state's Department of Education for evaluation. And once again, the homeschooling institution must allow a quarterly inspection by a social worker to make sure that to evaluate the child's well-being and environment. If the environment isn't good, the educator will be put on academic probation and has until the consecutive quarter to meet the standards. And that is an outline of what our plan is. Thank you.